Hello, it's me, Jess. Welcome to my channel. I'm here with another channeled message. This is a specific message. It might resonate with you, it might not. Okay, so this message is coming through for a person who has been praying in earnest, or you've been soul searching. You've really been digging deep. You've been trying to understand what changed? That's the question. And this is definitely in relation to a romantic relationship, some kind of strong romantic relationship. And I don't know what that would look like for you. For some of you, you were married to this person. For others of you, you were in a committed relationship. For others of you, you were on some kind of path that you felt like that was the trajectory that you were on. It was courtship, commitment, and marriage, and the whole rest of it. And then something changed. And I think for most of you, this relationship ended. Now, if this relationship didn't end, something here changed almost like irrevocably and maybe imperceptibly to you, because you feel the scorpionic energy here, which is what's throwing you and it's causing you to dive deep, right? Which is part of the spiritual function of this. But you sense that there might be, there's something hidden, there's something secretive, maybe there's something strategic here, because you cannot account for what changed. That's why you're asking, what changed. And I just want to finish my thought here. Like, if the relationship didn't end, then this change caused some aspect of the relationship to end, like forever. So for instance, say if you have kids with this person and you thought that you guys were headed down a path to where you were also going to like get married and do like the whole thing, but then something changed and now like you're just co-parenting. So that aspect of your relationship has like changed. You're still in relationship, but it's not the same kind of relationship, right? Something here like on that scale happened in this relationship. So you're asking what changed, what is responsible for like the switch up. But I think when you're asking that question of the divine and of yourself trying to answer it, you mean that question in like this twofold manner. Because on the one hand, you're asking, what changed in the relationship? Like, you thought this relationship was heading towards one future and one trajectory. You were pretty certain of it. And then all of a sudden this change, this ending came up out of nowhere. So you're asking like, what accounts for the change in this relationship? Like that relationship breakdown. And again, you're linking this to potentially something scorpionic, secretive, hidden, something you didn't understand or account for, something, right? And the answer to that question, you kind of are linking to this other question in your mind, which is like, what changed about my partner, like this person? Because you've noticed a change here, or you assume that there must be a change here in this person's like sun energy. So like the way that they present themselves, their, philosophy, their health, their career, something here. What accounts for that change? And again, it's those kind of scorpionic themes of like, what is hidden here that I cannot account for? Is there something secretive? Is there something like strategic, right? And there is definitely that scorpionic energy that is underneath this like connection that you have with this other person. And we'll explore that more of that here in just a second, okay? Because what accounts for this change, there is a very like real world, period, point blank, mundane answer, right? The same way there's a direct answer to 4 plus 4. It's always going to be 8. There is that level of an answer here in this dynamic, and we'll talk about that here in just a second, but there's another answer. And the answer is that yes, there was divine intervention in this. And because I feel like it caught you off guard, it came up out of nowhere. And you're kind of wondering if there was something like almost otherworldly involved in this. And the answer is yes, the divine is saying, look, I stepped in, I ended this relationship. And this is kind of a part of the spiritual aspects of this connection, because somehow a very holy energy was tripped to activate in this situation, and spirit saying either you don't realize that that's what you did, or that's what your partner did, and potentially there's a misunderstanding of like how what was asked for or prayed for actually transpired in the material world. I'll tell you what I mean. Okay, so for some of you, I feel like this holy energy was tripped because somebody here prayed, and they prayed in earnest. Okay, and it could have been you, it could have been your partner. It also could have been, if there are children that are affected by this connection, then they're considered on a divine level a part of this connection. There could have been a child that was praying. And whatever was prayed for here in the situation, I think this is part of where the confusion is coming in. It might have on the surface seemed neutral. So somebody here could have been praying to God for honesty, or they could have been praying for healing, or they could have been praying for help, like a light my path forward, like what, something here that appeared very, 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 very neutral. But because there is a scorpionic energy that is wanting to be unearthed, okay, that did affect things. So when the divine did intervene, because whoever prayed with such earnestness and such real energy that the divine did take some kind of action here, And it had this effect of ending the relationship somehow, either immediately or through some sequence of events, which brings me to the next way that I think for some of you, this holy energy could have been tripped and you didn't even realize it. Because for some, it started off as a prayer by somebody, but then you were actually brought to a holy person in some fashion. And I don't mean a holy person just by like their title. You know, they could have a title. This could be like a priest, but just being a priest in like the divine's eyes doesn't necessarily make somebody a holy person. The spiritual side of things operates on energy. So there's a person here operating on behalf of spirit, and this person is legit. Okay, this person is the real deal, and you would know that they're the real deal because of everything that transpired afterwards. Because I feel like that scorpionic, hidden, secretive nature in this relationship somehow was done to this holy person. Okay, so they were lied to. What the secret in this relationship was kept from this person, because this holy person was sent in by the divine, not just to destroy things, but it was a path forward to partner with the divine, so that whatever somebody here prayed for to be dealt with was actually dealt with here. But it needs to be dealt with. So it could have been dealt with in partnership with the divine and cooperating, but I feel like a secret did need to be unearthed here to this holy person if that's what triggered this. Now, that secret's going to be different because some of you do know that there's a secret here. For instance, this is a relationship that could have started off like as an affair, and that's never been owned up to, and it wasn't told to this holy person who was sent to help this relationship. Instead, it was kept. So this person can't help you if you're not going to be transparent, if you're not going to be honest. For others of you, though, there is just a secret here on one side of things. And I actually feel like that still might be the case, even if this started off like as an affair. And that goes into this 4 + 4 = 8 kind of reason why the divine stepped in to split this partnership up for the highest vibrational good of all beings, right? But I feel like somebody here needed to own up to like a strategy they had or some kind of secret that they had, and they did not do it. So another person here is actually being protected. Somebody here is being protected, and they're going through their own kind of transformative experience. So there is some level of karma here that is playing out. And it's because this whole experience has unearthed this functioning dysfunction, which brings us to the next part of the reading where we're going to actually explore like, okay, but what was the tangible, mundane reason that this ending happened? Because there's that energy here too. Well, okay, actually, there's another scenario here that's like wanting to be spoken on the tail end of this, where for some of you, like one of these people was like very strategic and they hid certain things, and maybe they kept certain things a secret here in order to pursue this other person, to get them into a relationship, something here like that. And there could be a friend that does know about this. They know about what the strategy, they know something here that was hidden, and it's kind of eating them up inside because they are a good person, and they might even know this other person. Even if like they could be friends with this other person, or even like just on the periphery, you know, and they know this person doesn't deserve this, and they know that if they spoke whatever truth that they know, that it would change the way that this person views this other person. They know that it would have an actual effect. And so it's eating them up inside because they know that it's wrong to keep this secret, but they also don't want to betray their friend. So I feel like they prayed, or like they're just so concerned about this that their heart just like released this prayer to the divine of like, listen, this information needs to come out. Like, it's not right that this information does not come out. I don't feel I'm in the position to do that. And so the divine helped this to come out another way, like in another avenue or through some kind of divine intervention. That's another thing that could be going on here. Okay, so moving on to like the meat and potatoes of this reading, of like, okay, because remember I said there's actual like real world stuff as to why this ended here as well. But actually I'm being interrupted again because Spirit is saying, look, there's this other group here. So there's the meat and potatoes. This is the true message that Spirit wants to kind of give out. But Spirit's saying, look, there's another group here that was drawn into this reading. And the reasons why, the mundane reasons why that relationship ended is much different than this group that they're trying to address. And we have to address it, and we have to filter that group out, because not doing so adds to the confusion of around the karmas and around the lessons that are meant to be learned here. And it ends up like proliferating harm. So I gotta narrow out this other group here. Okay, so this first group, the way that I would describe this, like why the relationship ended, is because this is some kind of like friendship gone wrong scenario. And there's karmas here being learned around friendship. And I would actually say that even if this is a situation where there are romantic, schmegsual, chemistry, feelings exchanged, this still is true to some degree, that there is first some kind of base karmic test or rebalancing that needs to occur in the friendship space. And what I mean when I'm talking about the friendship space, because a friend is more than just a title. And I feel like that's part of the karma that is unfolding here, because for some of these people, you've got one person here who wants to have a romantic schmegdual relationship. So they would agree with everything that I'm going to say here about this other group, where it's like, look, this is a really intense romantic kind of connection, because this person feels like a lot of like lust towards this other person. And I think there's some of the other 7 deadly sins like involved in this too. Like it's lust, it's greed, it's like selfishness. There's a lot of like negative energy coming off of this other person, but they are so like kind of fixated on this this person that they want to get into a relationship with. But the deal is, this other person doesn't feel the same way about them back. This person is their friend, and this person does love them, but it is a platonic love. And I think this person is very nice to them, and they're very accepting of them, and they do feel a kind of intimacy here with this person, but it is on that friendship level. And when I'm again talking about, when I'm saying like there's friendship karmas, friend is more than just a title. It is more than just a position. This other person who feels strong lust, they are using the title and the position of closeness, of friendship, in order to be strategic about manipulating this person, essentially taking them down whatever strategic plan this person has to get them into a schmegdual or a romantic relationship, knowing full well that naturally that's not what this other person wants. They just refuse to respect this other person's wishes. And some of these people, because the lust is so strong, or the greed, or whatever this is so strong towards this other person, they are seeing them as an object, and they are just refusing to treat them as a person, and like to get to know them and what they want, and to honor what they want. In essence, they are absolutely the exact polar opposite of a friend. They're not being a friend, but they are masquerading as a friend. This is the karma that needs to get cleared up in this situation. And I can see here this person, and I don't think they would relate to it this way, because this is all I imagine this person is operating heavily through defense mechanisms. Their psyche is probably heavily protecting this person from the realization of their low behavior, and the fact that they've treated this person that they claim to love so selfishly and so poorly, and that they have essentially betrayed them and betrayed the friendship, and that's why the connection here ended. And the way I think they betrayed the friendship, because some of these people, it's like they understand that they're in a friend zone. And I think this is somebody who feels themselves in a friend zone, or they feel themselves being looked at in this platonic way, but they think if they could just do schmegs with this person, or if they could just make a pass at them, it's clearly uninvited here, and it's not like reciprocated, that then they could change this. But they would have to not honor this other person in order to do it. They would have to take some kind of opportunistic, low, underhanded move. And I think that potentially is exactly what went on here, or it's potentially what could have gone on here. So for some of you, this happened to you, and you're asking this question about a friend, and you just cannot account for their behavior, because you really did feel genuine friendship, and then this person did something so low and so selfish, and it tainted the way that you were viewing them, and you knew that they must have been strategic and like planning, like it really tainted like your memory of this person. But for some of you, you were this person that did this to this other person, and this is a part of like the karma that needs to be repaid here, because in order for that to happen, I can see somebody try to bust out of the friend zone. So in order to do that, they have to break the friendship. They have to betray the friendship in order to try to put a romantic relationship in its place. But they're not viewing it as that because in trying to break this person's view of them as a friend, they are betraying this person, or they had to cause some kind of harm to this person. They had to actually betray the friendship. And I think when that happened, this part of the karmic test, either this person was like at a very low moment, so they could have just opened up about some kind of like trauma or some kind of difficulty or some kind of low experience, or they could have been flat in the middle of it. Now for the karmic test, I can tell here, it doesn't matter if this other person knew about the low, what difficulties this person was dealing with at the time or not, because Spirit is saying they should have known about it. Like they were close enough here as friends that they should have been operating as a friend, but instead this person was like not listening. They were just focused on their own agenda here with this person. And so because of that, they didn't ask the right questions. They weren't engaged in the conversation from the right level of consciousness that they were supposed to be. They betrayed the friendship even before they took whatever action to betray the friendship. So they stand in breach of karmic contract here, because they were put in this person's life at that exact moment. The divine was expecting this person to assist them going through a difficult time. For some, like they were going through a difficult time, like this is something big, like something involving like a death or something. And so that's not the time to be making a pass at your friend, and a true friend would not do that. There's another group here where somebody took some kind of selfish strategic action when this person's guard was down, and that includes drinking is what I'm hearing. Like their guard was down in some way, but I'm just going to use the drinking thing as an example because I can see here in this other person's energy that whatever this was where their guard was down, they would not have been in that position with strangers. They would only have been in that position with friends, which is why the karmic position of friends and the universal expectation of being a friend is being called up here. It's not enough to call yourself a friend and then use that as a mask to get close to somebody, to take advantage of them in their weakest moments. That is a betrayer. That is a predator. Right? And this person has to look at themselves in the mirror and understand that that's exactly who they were to this person. So like say if this is a person who wouldn't be out drinking with strangers, or they wouldn't have had the second drink or drank as much or something with strangers, because they would only have done that with friends, because to be a friend to somebody means something different about the standard of behavior that you both expect from one another. Does that make sense? So there was a betrayal here of that, and whatever this was, I can see it accessing a trauma space, or it's scorpionic energy, which Scorpio split something here in two. So this person felt like friendship and they felt an intimacy, but a platonic intimacy. And then when this person did this, they were like, ew. That's literally what I'm hearing. Ew. That was selfish. That was strategic. You planned that, like, something here like that. It traumatized this person, I think, for a lot of you, or it called up some kind of like trauma, and it made this person feel like they didn't have anybody to rely on. They couldn't actually trust friends to be platonic friends and to actually function as friends. And so that's why this ended, is because you potentially traumatized a person, and like you broke their brain in a sense of like whatever it was that you did. And some of you need to own up for the fact that you were trying to do that because you viewed the friendship as being a block to the relationship that you wanted to have with this person. Now, the karmic repercussions of this is ironic because this person, if this is like the scenario for you, this person is sort of a gatekeeper, but they are they're the key actually to your happy relationships. I think like in general, like this person has a very good influence on your friend circle. Like this is a person who would have your back, and you may need that karmically. But I also think this person may introduce you to the love of your life. Like you building your friendship and being such a good person to this person, they may have a friend like from their childhood or something, and that friend's going to come back into their life and they're going to hook the two of you up, and that is going to be your forever person, your happily ever after. And because this person, I can see this person's genuineness. This person is a good friend. This person is a genuine friend. For some of you, this is you that I'm describing, and like this other person is a friend that you can't believe they did whatever they did to you. Then you might have like relationship issues, but you can go to this person and they will help you. And potentially it's because they also know this other person and you're both their friends. And I'm just hearing this person, the good karmas, like it's invaluable. So for some of you, I think you feel that you lost the friendship here with this person, but it was because you were angling for a romance with this person. That's why I'm saying there's greed involved, because it wasn't enough for you to have the friendship with this person. You actually do cherish this person as a friend, and you should have always done that. You should have not been willing to damage your friendship for some kind of selfish motive. And I feel like the betrayal in this situation is very clarifying on both sides. It clarified for this person what you were actually after and who you actually were and what you actually do to people. Like if you're the person who did that, but it clarified for you that you didn't just want a schmegulal relationship with this person. You actually like this person. You value this person in your life as a friend, and you lost them as a friend. But I think you're kind of like, well, I lost you as a friend, and you tried to, but it was only because you thought you were going to get this other kind of relationship. But it's because you didn't really see this person, because this person's much different than who you thought they were. If, again, you were always angling for, you were only looking through the lens of your strategy. You missed a lot about this person. They're much stronger and they're much different than you thought. And they're a much better friend than you were giving them credit for. And again, for some of you, you have to flip this, because I think somebody here did this to you. So the divine stepped in and put distance between the two of you, because whoever was harmed in this situation, and I want to use the word traumatized, like even if this is a man, like I would use the word traumatized, and because maybe you made a pass at this person and they have like kids or something. Now they feel like they've got a secret, and it's not who they actually are, and they're still like very just shocked at whatever went on. There needed to be distance here in order for this person to heal. They can't be around you, and also there's Aquarian energy coming in to heal. So this person needs to be surrounded by people who genuinely are friends and who are genuinely interested in being friends with this person and who genuinely will tend the friendship with this person. And if it leads to more, fine. But if this person views them as a friend, then these are people who are going to absolutely honor this person's right to make that decision, because they just view people as people and not like as objects. And I think for some of you, it's not that you're trying to be a jerk. It's just maybe you're really, really insecure and you found a person who's pretty or handsome and also, you know, very nice to you and somebody that like you get along with. But that's not an excuse to treat them bad. It's actually the opposite kind of needs to happen here. But I can feel the divine trying to position this person in your life as a friend. And it has a buffering effect. It has some kind of like healing, redemptive quality. And for some of you, it's like you do have to get past this person, like this karmic lesson, because that friendship energy of neutrality and taking your ego out of it and not just looking at people, I just heard like a piece of meat or for what they can do to you or through that lens of selfishness, being able to look at someone genuinely as a friend is being able to view them through that neutral lens. Well, that's the basis of any relationship, right? You got to be able to see the other person as autonomous and you know, be willing to do that whole give and take sort of a dance. And sometimes that means restricting ourselves. And that's how we build social bonds and we maintain the social fabric of our communities. And I feel like some of you have been held off from meeting your genuine romantic partner unless you prove yourself as a friend. And I'm not saying this is the only scenario where you potentially could have done that, but I think it's a major one. This person I think has very good karmas and some sort of like mission here and some kind of incredible strength. And I just think it's a real boon to have this person in your life as a friend. And I'm telling you, losing the friendship, that's the real loss. That is the real loss. And I think that's something here that you're supposed to, you are supposed to kind of grapple with. So for some of you, that's why this ended, is because you got lusty and you got greedy and you used that to justify some very selfish or very low, secretive, strategic, underhanded behaviors towards somebody that really, really was not in that energy towards you. This person would have threw down for you too. Nobody would have a secret around you and this person keep it from, like, I'm telling you, this person is a good friend, like just a genuinely good friend. Okay, so that's this first group here. And now that we've got that out of the way, I'm gonna put a timestamp here for the actual meat and potatoes one. Okay, so back to the regularly scheduled message that originally wanted to come out. So this, again, just to get us back on track, this is for why did things end in this like very romantic relationship? You could have been married, you could have been committed to each other, or you could have been like headed in that direction. But this ending would have happened between two people where there genuinely is a reciprocated chemistry and a romantic interest, a schmegdual interest. Like that's very natural here. It exists between the two of you, okay? So that's kind of like the baseline here for this. Now, the reason that what accounted for the change here is the divine did step in, but it's because of this dysfunctioning energy here on both parts. So spirit is trying to interrupt that dysfunctioning energy, again, because something holy was triggered here. Now, there's part of that functioning dysfunction, and the mirror that the two of you are invited to stare into has to do with the two of you being you having fundamentally different approaches to courtship and its function and how you approach it as people, okay? So you've got one person here who approaches courtship with a lot of value and a lot of earnestness, and they're very genuine in their approach to courtship, and they expect that courtship, everybody's being honest, because the function to this person in courtship and the value that it brings is, listen, if there's any incompatibilities or problems or issues, we should find out about it in the courtship phase. That way we don't make higher and higher and higher commitments to one another when we could have just found out in the courtship phase that things aren't right between us. And that might be hard, but it's better to nip it in the bud. It's better to end it now. And this person may have strong values of commitment. They may have strong traditional values. This could be a person that's like, I really only want to get married once. And they genuinely mean that, but it really does come from a very authentic kind of place. This could be such a strong prayer of this person's, or such a strong intention even, that it's so pure, like the divine just assists this person naturally in not forming connections where that potentially would not be the case. And I feel like this kind of fits that dynamic, because unbeknownst to this person who takes a very honest approach to courtship, this other person that they do feel this like connection with, they do not approach courtship in the same way. Instead, this other person approaches courtship. They want to win courtship. That's the way that I want to describe it. So because of that, there's still this like scorpionic energy on the sun. They're very strategic about the way that they position themselves, like to to their romantic interests. This is a functioning dysfunction. This is the way this person approaches courtship. So they're strategic about the parts of their philosophies that they share, their personality, their career, how they present themselves. And not for all of these people is that just because they're like a sadist and I think there's a genuine relationship that is desired here. It's this person wants to win courtship because they want their choice. And so this person, it's like they don't feel comfortable revealing their true self until they have hooked somebody else through some kind of binding, through some kind of level of commitment. So they want you to fall in love with them. They want to feel secure in that. They want you to have schmegs with them because it's bringing your relationship to the higher level. They want you to commit to them. They want you to move in with them. And I think for each of these people, it's different, like what level of commitment they feel comfortable at. But once they feel like they've got you hooked and therefore they have the ability to make their choice because they don't want to be rejected in courtship. Nobody does. But this person, I think, either they're just really insecure and they just assume that they will be rejected, which I guess is sad, but it's no excuse to behave like this because now you're just pushing trauma around like towards everybody else, right? Or again, it's like specific to this particular situation because this other person is such like a wish come true and they're like, oh my gosh, like this is like my person, but then I have this other shit that's going on. So it could be just like something about this, that's like bringing this side of them out where they're like, I don't want to take a risk on dealing with what I have to deal with and being honest about that and maybe potentially losing out on like the opportunity. They want their choice. They want to keep this person as an option, as a choice. And it is a very selfishly driven motive, right? But once they have you and they facade manage in order to have you, that's when eventually they're going to start dropping their mask and be the person that they actually are. And I do think that the person they actually are is more Aquarian than they're giving off. So that could be, it's more non-traditional than they're giving off. But it also could be that it's just different. There's something here about them that is different and it would shock this other person, right? So that goes back to this like original question in the beginning. Well, what changed? What accounts for this change? I thought that we were on point in terms of philosophy, in terms of values and guiding lights. And it could have something here to do with children or something. Children do have a factor in this. Like maybe once you had children, it changed this person's like demeanor, or once you introduced this person to your children, something here changed. Like that is some kind of like factor here, but it's like, I wonder what changed. And what changed is that you thought you got to know a certain person, but that was really just a mirage. And you really like this person and you feel like, you feel like this strong, you thought that you were like really getting along, but you were getting to know a very karmic version of this person. Now here's the real kicker is because I think that, you would have been maybe brought to this holy person, some of you, because I think this might still be a divine connection here for some of you, where there is a mutual romantic attraction. I think it might well be a divine connection where there's just some karma here to clear up. I think there can potentially be healthy mirroring here in this connection. So I think Spirit was like hoping that introducing the two of you would induce some kind of change, right? That's that. Again, I'm seeing that scorpionic energy on the sun, but that healthy change. But the healthy change needs to occur in the approach. And you need to be building this relationship from both sides, somebody here, with honestness and being transparent and not opaque and not trying to position themselves strategically. They need to be honest because I think it's got the potential here to be a very divine relationship, but it's got to be built on the honesty and the trust and the intimacy. And you've got to understand how your approach to these things can either build those things in the long run or tank it when somebody finds out something here. So I think that was on option. And I think if that didn't happen, and if you've got somebody trying to hide things, like, keep something a secret, that's a big secret about themselves, I think Spirit would have tanked this because yes, you've got this as an option, but you've got to build it in the right way. This is some kind of divine like for some of you, this still is some kind of divine partnership where it has the potential to be that and to provide a lot of healing here because especially, this like healthy person that really approaches courtship in what I would consider the right way, they are a very healthy mirror, like to this other person, but also this person has a strong Aquarian side. And, this other person, that's a part of like what's really getting missed here is like, they're so focused on their own strategy that they're not actually getting to know this person. they're so busy trying to make sure that their facade works that they're not, their guard is never really down. They're never really vulnerable. They're never really intimate. They don't actually like really get to know this person. Because I think that this person, what accounted for the quote unquote change for this like strategic person is of course this divine intervention. So, and they may have to live within the confines of some kind of karmic relationship where they have to learn this lesson the hard way, by looking in a mirror that's very similar to theirs, another very strategic person, to learn why that's bad, and what can become of that and why it's a functioning dysfunction. But they're going to be surprised because they never really got to know this person to begin with, because their strategy, they had to deduce who they thought this person was, like out the gate. And I think they thought that it was this Hierophant energy. They knew that this was somebody you commit to. This is like maybe something very traditional. They could have had something very traditional, but still, this is the kind of relationship where you're very much going to make it your own, you two, because you both have this like Aquarian streak. And this relationship, I think, actually provides an outlet for both of you to have very healthy Aquarian energy. Because I've said this on the channel before, but a lot of people think that like just because you live some kind of alternative lifestyle or you don't fit into the cookie cutter mode of like exactly a traditional lifestyle, that means you're some kind of deviant, or that you don't care about being a good person or a moral person. And that's just not true. And I feel like that's the case for the two of you. There is some kind of healthy outlet if you approach this relationship in the right way. If not, then I feel like this strategic person, there is a karmic here that I'm seeing in their past. Now, this could be an addiction. This could be like a karmic ex, that they are, maybe that's what they're hiding, is like some kind of, it's kind of low energy. And I just feel like this person would cheat, and maybe it would produce a child, or yeah, it's to do with children. And I get this message so often, but it's like, you know, if you did get pregnant with this person, if you did have a family, that would somehow change things. It would somehow, yeah. Maybe that's like just I don't know. They maybe feel like I don't know, but I feel like it would bring out the unhealthier sides of this person. It doesn't have to be in this connection. This is a connection that genuinely has the potential to go the distance in a way that is mutually fulfilling, very healthy, very healing. And you both have this room to express yourselves as individuals, as unique individuals, and you're not going to hold each other if you do the healing work here, but that's only if. And I feel like maybe maybe part of this like was a divine intervention where the divine offered this, where somebody here got to meet this person because this was on offer, and Spirit was like, choose. But if you're not going to choose to act right, this choice is off the table for you. And then you can go back to this karmic relationship. You know, that could have been the divine intervention. So it could have been that this person who is actually like very low and strategic, they had a prayer in their heart for somebody who could be their partner. Maybe this person thought that they weren't fit for some kind of committed relationship or some kind of traditional lifestyle. And Spirit was like, well, I know a gal. The thing is, I know a gal, or I know a guy that's perfect for you. And if that's what you really want, I tell you what I want, what I really, really want. If that's what you really want, because I think there was some kind of deep prayer maybe in this person's soul of like, I really want this. However that like came about, but I don't think that I'm fit for it, or I don't know what that would look like. And Spirit was like, here's what it would look like. Take it or leave it. But you're going to do the work. You're going to do the healing work. And that means having a proper approach to courtship and allowing this person to not keeping things from this person, not being strategic. You are going to build a proper relationship, be a proper person. There's something here like that. And you're not going to be able to lead with strategy and get this divine relationship. You're just not. You're going to have to go back to your comic thing, right? That's what I feel. That's what I feel. And I'm seeing here in the 5 of Cups, like the 3 of Cups is tipped over. So it could be like maybe this person's perpetually in a third party situation, but they've got to let that go. And if they let that go, or maybe they're in, like maybe they have a marriage they have to get rid of and they can't bring this person into a third party situation. It's just so antithetical to their energy. That needs to be respected. And again, I'm going to go back to this baseline of friendship, of just caring about another person from an unselfish place. You know, are you good? Yeah, you good? Cool. Because there's something here where it's like this person, yeah, they have this unique streak. Anyway, and there's a potential for a very unique relationship too. Like this is unique. So anyways, I'm going to leave that there. I hope that made sense for everybody. This message kind of got off the rails a bit. It went in a direction I wasn't expecting, but that's what I have for you. If that resonates for you, please like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Bye.